Hey guys, so today I want to talk about things that feel normal now, but were really strange when I first moved to Japan almost over 3 years ago. So, one of the first things that I consider normal now is people staring at me. So, I live in the countryside of Japan, and staring is more prevalent here compared to being in a big city where there's a lot of foreigners. So, Japanese people are used to seeing foreigners. But when I live in like the countryside, and when I go to like a rural, like a village or anywhere, even I go into like normal, like just go into town, a lot of people just stare at me, right? And at first, I was like, I felt very, very like self-conscious. I'm like, yo, why are these people looking at me and stuff like that? Like, it made me feel very, very like uncomfortable, right? And it took some time to getting used to, and even to this day, it's like I'm still not 100% you know comfortable with the staring, but it still happens here and there. But I kind of realize that it's just they just you know you stand out. You're a foreigner. So naturally they're going to stare at you and stuff like that. And which is fine. So I'm completely used to it now. But because of the staring, I feel like I have to before I leave the house, I have to present myself a certain way, right? I gotta look nice. I gotta look groomed. I gotta keep my hair fresh. Keep the beard fresh. Look good, right? Because I don't want to look like a slob because people will see me outside and stuff like that. But yeah. So now at this point, after like over 3 years, I'm kind of used to the staring, right? And you don't really get that if you live in other countries like like in Canada or America. you know People usually don't stare at you, and when they do, they have some sort of vendetta against you, or like, what are you looking at type of thing, right? Like, be like, yo, what are you looking at, bro? What are you looking at, type of thing. So but here it's not really, it's just a sense of curiosity. um when Japanese people stare at you and stuff like that, and I've just come to accept it. And yeah, so that's something just I'm just is just normalized now for me. So the next thing that I'm used to now that I find normal is taking off your outdoor shoes and switching into your indoor shoes whenever you enter like a doctor's office or your workplace. So there's a thing called genkan, which is the entrance, right? So when I go to like the dentist office or the doctor's office, I have to take off my outdoor shoes and switch into slippers, right? Whenever I go to work, I have to switch from my outdoor shoes into my indoor shoes, right? And that is just, at first I was like, oh, this is so annoying. Like, I constantly have to like change my shoes, really? Seriously? Right? And even just going to the gym, it's the same thing here. You have to switch into your indoor shoes, and I find it. I'm completely used to it now. But like, I also understand that it also makes a lot of sense because it keeps the inside of the building clean, right? It makes a lot of sense. And when I look at it that way, I'm like, okay, after being here for over 3 years and having like 5, 6 sets of different shoes and stuff like that, I'm used to it. So yeah, that is one thing that I find to be, for me, I it's normal. It's a normal thing. So the next point that I find that I'm used to now is driving on the left side of the road. Um, Coming from Canada, everyone drives on the right side. So when I first came here and I got a car and I started driving on the left side, I was like, whoa, this is really weird. Like, and you in Japan, you are not allowed to turn right at a red light. So you like, in Canada, you're allowed to do that, right? But in Japan, you can't. So that was something that it took time for me to get used to. Um, and like, even the rules about pedestrian crossing. So whenever you see a pedestrian crossing, if there is someone waiting, you have to yield. Like you have to stop your car and let them cross. So there's a lot of pedestrian crossings in Japan, especially in like rural areas. And it is the law that you have to slow down. So you have to be aware. You have to be aware if and look left and right as you're driving past before you drive past a pedestrian crossing to ensure that there's no one waiting. And if there is, you have to stop. So that took some time to getting used to as well. And you know, driving on the left side, it's like if I if I decide to go back to my home country, where people still drive on the right side, it's gonna be like kind of like a shock to me as well. So, like a reverse culture shock, in a sense. But at this point, I am used to it. It's not a big deal to me anymore compared to before. And the next thing that I'm used to now that I consider normal is the extreme silence in public places. So when I go to a restaurant or when I go to like a cafe or when I'm on a bus, when I'm on a train, every it's just pitch silence. No one is talking to each other, right? And obviously, there's rules. It's part of the law as well. The rules on the trains and the buses say you can't speak loudly on the trains and buses. You can't be on your phone, stuff like that. And at first, when I first came to Japan, like the first month, it just felt very weird because I came from a town where, there's noise everywhere in public places, on trains and on the buses. And, when you go to like restaurants, everyone's talking and stuff like that. And we're even here in gyms, like, there is everyone's just in solitude. Everyone is just to themselves working out, not like conversing. And even if people are talking to each other, it's not so loud. They're very conscious of not trying to disturb anyone around them. And I really like that concept as well, because it when I go to a restaurant and when I go to a cafe or when I'm on a train and when I'm on a bus, I have the opportunity to study or read in peace without having to listen to other people's conversations all the time. And it's come to a point where if I am on a train and I'm on a bus and I hear people talking loudly or making noise, I get annoyed. I'm getting annoyed of it. It's actually come to that point where I'm like, man, like, dude, like, please, like, keep it down. It's come to that point. And I've really grown to appreciate that silence which was something that was lacking in public areas back in Canada or America, where everywhere you go there's a lot of noise, but you're not able to focus or be at peace. There's constant background noise all the time. And the next thing that I am used to now that I consider normal living in Japan is the complex trash sorting. In Japan, you have to, separate your trash. So all the combustible, all the burnable stuff goes in one bag. The plastics go in another bag. Plastic bottles go in another bag. Aluminum cans go in another separate bag. And I don't know how it is in other places, but where I live, you have to write your name and your address on each of the bags when you throw it out, especially like the plastic, because it only comes 2 or 3 times a month at a specific location. So when you go there, you have to, give them your bag and they do a check to ensure that there's nothing that shouldn't be in there. And they know your name, they know your address, they know where you live. So if you make a mistake, they will bring it back to the front of your door for you to fix the problem, to resort. And that's happened to me a couple of times, and it was frustrating at first, but now I understand how the trash system works. And that is just something that I'm used to now. But before, it was just very tedious and annoying to separate my trash, and now I understand why they do it, and it makes sense for the environment, and yeah, just used to it. And another thing that I'm used to while living here in Japan is the lack of trash bins. So you are forced to carry your trash back home. You put it in your bag, and you are forced to just take it back home. Or if you go to a convenience stores have, you can throw your trash, but usually, yeah, there aren't, if any, just very few trash bins in Japan in general. So at first, it was really obviously annoying. You have to carry all your trash with you, and you're just like you're looking for the bin. Like, where's the bin? Where's the bin? And you have this, you have all your, you have your cup, your plastic cup, or you have your bottle, empty bottle in your hand, and you're just walking around looking like a fool. But you know, it makes logical sense that so it is your responsibility to throw away your trash, right, and keep it with you. And now that is just something that I'm used to as well. And a lot of tourists, when they come here too, you're also going to experience this as well. Where are the trash bins? Where are the trash bins? And I'll give you the hint: they're at the convenience stores. Just go to the convenience store and they'll be there. So another thing that I found to be strange at first, that I consider to be normal now, is paying my bills, like physically going to like the convenience store to pay like my water bill or electricity bill, or paying my rent. I have to physically go to the city hall and actually pay with cash, only in cash. And at first I was like, is there like a way where they can just directly take it out of my account in my bank? But I guess there isn't. So for water and electricity, you can do that, but I didn't set it up, so I have to go to the convenience store, and you can pay your utility bills there. For rent, you have to pay by cash, and you have to go to the city hall and pay by cash there. They stamp it, and they give you your change and stuff, and yeah. So at first, it's kind of annoying, especially for if the city hall is quite far away from where you live. You're gonna have to figure out how to get there by bus or train or walk or bike, and pay your rent. And yeah, I don't know how the system is in like big cities. Maybe it's automated for rent, but in some places, I think, especially in the countryside, you're gonna have to physically go into the city hall and pay for rent. So that is something that I'm used to now. So another thing that I'm used to now, that's considered normal for me, is as soon, like, when I come to work, I have to say good morning to everyone, right? So as soon as I enter the staff room at my school, I have to say ohayo gozaimasu, right? And it's just become a habit. It's become a routine. And before I leave, I have to say, osaki ni shitsurei shimasu, which is basically, please excuse me for leaving before you, for leaving first. And you usually you don't really announce that you don't announce to everyone back in Canada or America at work, where you're saying good morning everyone, like you just go into work and then you just leave, right? For the most part. But yeah, in Japan it is customary to greet everyone in the morning, and before you leave you're supposed to say those words. And at first, it's obviously it's kind of awkward, or it's kind of strange, but it is something that you get used to, after living here or after working here. So another thing that that's for me is just considered normal, compared to before, is when you go to a hot spring in Japan, you have to be completely naked. So you cannot wear your big little swimming trunks or anything like that. You have to go butt naked in the water. And at first it's extremely awkward. It's really weird. But when you keep going, you realize it's whatever. Like, you just get used to it. And as I said in the other point earlier, that the staring, like people do stare at you, but it's just it's not really, you don't want to start any problems or anything like that. So you just mind your own business, and you just enjoy the experience of the onsen. But yeah, that is just something that you get used to here. And I know for a lot of uh, people that want to try have the experience of going into an onsen or hot spring in Japan, um, you know, it may be you may not want to because of this rule, right? But there are some onsens in Japan where I think you can have mixed onsens, like mixed hot springs, where you have to wear swimming trunks or whatever. So you can still experience the hot springs of Japan, but a lot of yeah, a lot of other, like most onsens, you have to be completely butt naked, yeah, with a bunch of dudes, yeah. So another thing that I'm used to now is the high customer service that you experience in Japan. So when you enter any retail store, or any store in general, you're greeted by the people that work there. They're very attentive. They're constantly like aware of if you need any help. They will go out of their way to help you. They will physically like walk you to the place where, if you're looking for something. Even at grocery stores, it's the same thing. If you're looking for something, they'll physically take you to the item is. And they'll always be smiling at you. And um even at restaurants too, yeah, it's really nice feeling. But at first you're like, man, this is so, like, am I a king or something, or am I king of this world or something like that? And it's like, but then it just makes you feel very good. And it's something that you get used to when you live here. Yeah. Another thing that I'm used to now is that I consider normal is seeing like really, really healthy food in convenience stores in Japan. There's like hard boiled eggs for sale. There's salads. There's um, like a lot of fish and sushi that they have at the convenience stores. And a lot of salads, as I said. And it's crazy. Like back in America and Canada, the convenience stores is 95, 96% all junk food. So when I first came here, I was astounded by the variety of stuff that's available at convenience stores. And convenience stores in Japan have everything. Like you can do all your grocery shopping at a convenience store if you wanted to, if you're on a budget, right? The convenience stores sell fruits like peaches sometimes, and apples and bananas, and frozen vegetables like spinach and broccoli and rice and stuff like that. And it's really great. And these convenience stores, are most of them are 24/7, right? So you can go in at any time and grab these snacks and beverages and stuff that are reasonably priced and reasonably healthy. And that was something that it took me time to get used to. And like now I am used to it, but it's just like still amazed. I'm still amazed every day by how stocked up convenience stores are in Japan. So another thing that I consider to be normal, that I found to be really strange and annoying at first, is the cedar pollen in Japan. So in like the springtime, summertime, the cedar pollen is really, really high, right? And I get like hay fever and seasonal like bad allergies and stuff. And a lot of Japanese people suffer from it as well. And but now, after living here for over 3 years, I know what to expect. So I know how to prepare for it. So I have like my masks, I have my nasal spray. I have a humidifier in my apartment. So I kind of prepared myself for this season because I know it's gonna come and I know it's gonna affect me. And but at first, it was the first year or two living here, it was a struggle, right? Constantly dealing with these allergies, and eventually these allergies led to fever, like me having fever and stuff like that. And you know there's not much you can do except just to do preventative measures. And that is something that I'm used to living in Japan, especially in the countryside where you are surrounded by thousands and thousands of trees, cedar trees. So, yeah, this is something I'm used to. All right, and that's it for the video. I hope that you found this enlightening, interesting, stuff like that. And if you have more interest, if you want to know more about Japan, what life is like in Japan, please subscribe and watch the rest of my videos and stuff. It's all about Japan. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Hey guys, so today I want to talk about things that feel normal now, but were really strange when I first moved to Japan 3 years ago. So, one of the first things that I kind of considered that's normal to me now is the bowing. So, before, when I first came to Japan, like I obviously expected bowing, right? I expected that. But, no.